Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and this is today's card. Now this was inspired by Betsy, who is a friend of Jennifer McGuire's, and she made this on Jennifer's channel. I will share the link for that video below. It's definitely heavily inspired by her, but they of course are using a lot of dies and stamps and stuff that I don't have, so I use my Cricut where I can. And then I share my files with you guys. So this is the card that Betsy did. And isn't it cute? Now, it's not exactly like her card. Her card is different. This was just inspired by. But isn't it cute? It just turned out so nice. Now, I made some mistakes. I got my houses too tall or too high up. I should have cut my sidewalk a little bit narrower, put my bottom bushes down a little bit lower, but I'm going to make it work. So stay tuned to see how to make this one. Okay, so this is the file in Designspace, and I think it turned out pretty cute. I created all of the shapes myself using various techniques that are available for free in Designspace. Unless the offset's not, but I believe it is. Anyway, I'm going to share this file with everybody. So there's a couple of different things going on with this file. Well, for one thing, my windows just disappeared. What happened there? Okay, they're back. So to create the grass or the bushes along the bottom, I just used ovals, and then I kind of placed them. Let me zoom out a little bit. I kind of just placed them haphazardly, you know, not in a straight line, and then took small circles, most of which are the same size. And then I just kind of placed them haphazardly too, so it looks like the bushes, to create that effect that Betsy got on her card. I created the picket fence. It's a little bit bigger than I wanted, so I shrunk it down, and then to get it to span this whole thing, there's actually 1, 2, 3 there that you could weld together if you wanted to make it larger or longer, however you like it. The trees, I created those actually really easily by using this shape here. I'm going to flip it. I'm just showing you real quick how I did it. Let's kind of scroll down a little bit. So I changed the shape of it, made it really narrow, and then I added the effect of an offset. And that's probably bigger than I need, but what I wanted was the rounded corners, because I've talked about this before. I'm just going to delete that now. I'll make this brown. I find that rounded corners cut so much better than pointy corners. Pointy corners, sometimes, depending on how the paper's made, the corner might peel up from a layer that it's attached to, or it might just bend. But rounded corners, for me anyway, seem to cut so much better. So I made my tree trunk, and then I made a copy of it, and I shrunk it down to make the branches, and I would unlock the proportions and change things about that, and then of course I would rotate it to get the angle I wanted. Let's do 60, and that was how I made the tree. So it was really easy. Houses were kind of the same way. I used all basic shapes. I'm going to get rid of that now too. I used a square with a triangle on top. The windows were free shapes as well. So were the doors. The, I don't know what you call this, but the little, I should know, gable? Is it a gable? I don't know. Anyway, this little part of the roof, I just took 2 triangles, and let's do that real quick. It's easy. I took 2. Let's duplicate it. I'm going to change the color on that one so you can see it, and then I'll just slide it down. I got a thickness that I thought would look relatively good, which, remember, you can always change that with your offset. And I just selected both, and I did a slice. And that one, and there you go. And then I did, as always, go into my effects and do the offset, just because, again, the rounded corners cut so much better for me, even if it's just a little bit rounder. like this. Let me zoom way in on that so you can see. See, it's just a little bit rounder, but for me, I find that cuts so much better. And it might be because I use my mats until they're, you know, I've had to add glue to them several times. I don't know. But for me, that's what works. So just, keep that in mind if you're having trouble. So I did that. Why is it not deleting? There we go. The roof was this shape here. And I took a square, we'll just use this rectangle, and I cut it in half. I'm going to change the color on one of those, and then I'm just going to go so where you can see. So there's the point, and I just went a little above that to make sure I got it where I wanted it, and I didn't have a little bit of a downward slope on the bottom of the roof. So there's how I made the roof. Easy peasy. Chimney, same way. I used 2 rectangles, one vertical, one horizontal, layered them over the top, positioned to where I thought it looked good, and done. Now the steps were a little trickier. I'm not going to show you that just because that would take a little bit longer, but you can see it was all real easy. When I got to these bushes, wrong way, over here, I took these same ovals and I just laid one here, angled one here, put one here, angle, and I just did that until I had a shape that I liked, and again added the circles. Now this one I did make a slightly larger circle, and I used it like 7 or 8 times, but otherwise it's the same. If you do this and you come across any that, like this one, which I forgot to do, that have a little cutout in it, just turn it off, because it's so small it's not going to cut well anyway. And there you go. And then I did an offset on this, and I flipped one of the images in the other direction, so you can do this however you want. Now with this, I'm going to use, let's just make a copy of this. To bring it down, I'm going to detach it, haul that up. I'm going to get rid of those, and what I would do is I would stretch this out and I would cut it to whatever length you want. I probably would just cut off the bottom, and then you can work with it from there. I would leave that a little bit longer depending on how much you want. So I'm going to go right there, select that, and slice. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of both of these. And then you've got this piece as well. So then if you want the bushes in the background, just take and make a copy of this. I would flip it so that it doesn't look identical. And we're going to go horizontal, and I would flip that back there. So you get something like that. So you can see they don't look the same. Just something like that. So that's what I've got now. This moon I had in my files. It's one of my digitals. I don't really like it. I really want this bright orange moon, which oddly enough I found in Designspace. So if you have a Designspace subscription, you can grab that moon. I don't think it will tell me what moon it is. Image info. Maybe it will. Okay, so there it is. Yellow and orange watercolor. And the number is M as in man, 505, B as in boy, C as in Charlie, 72, D as in dog. And that's the number for that moon that's in Designspace if you have a subscription. I don't believe it was free. I looked. I didn't see any free moons that I liked. I really wanted something that kind of glowed and was spooky like. So that's where I go. So I'm going to cut this out now, and we'll see what we end up with, how well this cuts, because a lot of this stuff is a little bit on the small side. I did leave these bushes longer so you could kind of play with them and decide where you want them, if at all. I do have some dies for some little pumpkins that I will use. You could always look for pumpkins or create your own if that's what you want to do. So I think that's it. I'll put my sentiment up across here, I'm going to get rid of that moon because it's really not what I'm looking for. This blue area will be black. And then I will do what she did with some white ink and kind of make it look a little hazy or cloudy. So I think that's it. Let's cut it out. Let's see how it ends up. Alright, I have got everything cut out. I've gone ahead and folded my card base up just so you can see. Now, I didn't cut the card base with the Cricut. I thought I could do a good enough job to cut an 8.5 and 11, an 8.5 by 11 in half, and then score it. But with 12 by 12, you could definitely cut it with the Cricut, and it is set up that way. I just didn't do it that way. So I've got my card base, which I'm going to add some white ink to in the background to make it look, you know, kind of spooky. So we'll do that. I've got some rows of bushes here, as well as 2 big bushes. I have an idea about doing a little bit inking on them. I'm not sure yet. I've also got the sidewalk here, which, like Betsy did, I did score it, even though it doesn't seem to want to show up. Every once in a while you can get a hint of it here on the right side. There you go. What I'm thinking I'll do with this part is grab a Q-tip, even though I grabbed, well, that's for the house, but I might grab a Q-tip and just do a little inking there, because you know the sidewalks are always a little bit darker in the crack where they're separated. So I'm going to grab a Q-tip and do that. And then I've got all my little pieces parts here. So I did cut some pumpkins out with some dies that I had, just because I knew I wanted them small, and I didn't want to design any so that they'd be free, blah 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 blah. You get it. But I'm going to do a little bit of inking on some of these pieces, so I'm going to grab a Q-tip and then we will get started. Alright, I grabbed a couple Q-tips, and then I thought, oh, do I have a stiff brush? Now obviously I've used this one with blue, but I don't think the gray will hurt anything. I'm not going to start on the good side. I'm going to start on the back side because I want to test this out. So first I'm going to try the Q-tip. Let's put a little bit of ink. That might be way darker than I want. Oh yeah, I think that's darker than I want. Okay, we'll put that one back and try another one. Okay, I've got pumice here. Let's try that one. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, so that's pumice. And then I also grabbed smoke plume, which I think is a little darker. Actually, it doesn't seem to be darker at all. It's actually pretty close to the same. Okay, so I think I'll use the pumice. So I'm going to put this one away for now, and I'll just lay that there. And I'm going to flip this over. Oh, I did want to try one other thing. I did want to try the brush just to see if I liked the application better. Oh, I do like that application better. So, as long as I can see these, which is a little tough. Alright, so I'm going to add a little bit to my brush. Looks like it's right there. And it doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line because sidewalks are rarely perfect, especially if they've been there a while. Okay, so it's right there. This is really juicy pad. I haven't used it apparently, like ever. You know what? I'm going to flip it around and work from this edge so I'm not putting my hand in the wet ink. So you could also draw these on if you want with your Cricut. Just change the lines to draw instead of score. holding it up just to help me see that score line a little better. Now you could also, if you want to be really realistic, I think you could add like a little bit of splatter, or maybe, oh, I know, we should probably just color the edges just a little bit. What do you think? Look a little bit more right there. Okay, I'm going to wipe this off. Oh, it's raining here. They said it was going to, but I didn't see a cloud in the sky earlier. Okay, so I'm just going to set that over there. So I do think I want to go around the edges a little bit, just a little. Let me grab one of these. Just add a little bit to it. And that's what this paper here is for, just to keep it from getting to, you know, all over everything. And I'm just kind of doing the edges just a little bit. It hardly even shows up, actually. Maybe I didn't get enough on the brush. There we go, that's a little bit more. Oops. Now, I did not cut these to fit the panels. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. You can always cut them yourself before you set them up to cut in Designspace to fit the panels evenly. But I just kind of thought I'd wing it, because sometimes I like, especially with the bushes, I like to maybe slide them this way or that, you know. Come on, get some ink on you. I just want it to look a little less neat and a little more used around the edges. There we go, that's getting there. Okay, I'm just going to flip it over. And I'll just keep the center nice and bright. Oops. I feel like I could use a little bit more. Now the ends, since I'm probably going to cut this off, that may or may not matter, but we'll see. I don't know. I feel like it needs to be a little grungier. I mean, it is Halloween, right? Or this card's for Halloween. I don't need too many Halloween cards, but yeah, it's hard to tell from the angle where the light is so bright, but it is a little grungier. You can kind of see it from that angle. So I'm going to throw away that Q-tip before I get it all over everything. I'll put that back there. And I'm going to throw away that Q-tip. Okay, so this is done. So let's see. Let's do our white on the background next. I grabbed a new pad. I didn't have any more of those domed ones, so I'm just going to try this one and hope it works. And since this down here will be covered, I think I will test it down there. Okay, I just want a really light. Oh yeah, that'll work. Okay. So I'm just gonna kind of come up here and try not to put a whole lot of pressure on it. Just kind of move it around randomly. I shouldn't have focused, or should have been more careful over that score line there, so it doesn't look so dark right there. But you know what? I could probably put some black over that if it ends up really bothering me. Okay, just kind of want rub out some of those circular area looking areas. Okay, so try to put this back on without making a mess. And yeah, that didn't really work out like it's supposed to. Okay, there we go. And I've got hands. Okay, so now I got an idea. Oh, we've got that done. Oh, you know what? I want to do my son too real quick. Where are you? Okay, so I think with the sun, let's slip this off of here. You know what? Just kind of get some of that ink off of there. Yep. And put this on here. So I actually had some cardstock that kind of was kind of a mottled yellow, so that's what I'm going to use for the sun. I was going to do a print and cut, and then I was like, I surely have a scrap that will work just fine. So I just changed that sun to a basic cut and cut out that shape. Okay, I'm going to get it in, coming into the center just a little bit more. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. It's nice and spooky, right? So I'm done with that. Now let's try this with the bushes that I wanted to try. I want to make sure they're going different directions, and they are. So, but this one's textured, and I don't know if I want the texture to show or if I want to use the back side. You can see the texture a little bit, but not nearly as visible as here. So I think I'm going to go with the back side of that, which means I need to flip that so they're not lined up perfectly. Okay, so if I'm going to use this side, I can work on this side just to try something. I could also use the ones that are going to go like the hedgerows, but we'll use this for now. Just try it. I just kind of want to see if it's going to add any real, like, you know how we do our clouds? Oh, okay. And move this, well, actually it doesn't have to even go in that same direction. Here we go. Just kind of mix it up a little bit. A lot of that will be covered up, I think. So just kind of adds a little bit of extra interest. And then you got, yeah, so I can do the same thing on this one. Let's go like this. Oh, yeah, that'll work. Okay. Subtle. Now we're going to kind of come over here and do it this way. Nice. And we'll do the same thing over here, but we'll use this side. Let's see here, kind of like, well, it can kind of go up in there, right? Although, let's focus more over here. Okay. It's a little harder to hold it this way, but I think I've got it. So you could just as easily cut a stencil to do this kind of thing, and I thought about it, but then I realized I could just use the pieces that I've cut and just use the back side. So that's what I did. I'm going to do a little bit more down here. Oops, didn't mean to do that. And it probably would have made more sense if I just started at the top and worked my way down, maybe. That might have helped a little bit, but I think you can kind of see now, although it does need a little bit more over here, doesn't it? Just in case that's showing. There we go. All right, so it's gonna kind of lay something like that. So it gives it the hint of different layers within the bushes itself. Okay, so I think other than the houses that we are, oh no, because I can do the same thing on these, can't I? Just to add another layer of interest. So why don't I, since I've got everything right here. You can always fast forward through this part. I'll try to put timestamps. I've been really bad about that lately. I'm not sure anybody even really uses them. Okay, so this is the same thing. I've got texture on one side and not on the other. So I'm gonna just kind of, well, actually I want to work on the textured side, don't I? It's harder to see where they are, but wait a minute, that's not right either. I want it to show up on the dark side, but do the ink on the textured side. Oh, okay. Let's try it like that. Okay. Get a little more ink. And here we go. Try not to move that. I should have pushed it up further on my desk and then I could have used my magnets, but I don't want to move it now. Just want to get a good demarcation line there, as good as I can anyway. Is that the right word? Demarcation? I don't know anymore. Okay, we're going to come all the way down here. Alright, shall we do the big reveal? Oh, there we go. Oh, can't really see it very well. It's flopping around. So now I feel like I should do something a little bit offset from that, maybe. Just another layer. I don't know. What do you think? Well, some of that's going to get cut off. Right? Okay, so we don't need to worry about that. So let's do it over here now. I did not go all the way out to the edge, so let me do some more of that. And just kind of, let's see here. I'm going to move stuff around a little bit, so hopefully I can use my magnets. Let's try something like this. And then I go and move it. Start here in the middle. The middle of the part that I want to ink, I should say. Grab a magnet. Oh, got ink on me. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, and you're using a thin enough cardstock, you could just cut multiple layers of this, and since it's one big long piece, you can just shift it to make the bushes in different heights and use different colors of green cardstock or, you know, scrapbook paper. I do feel like it needs a little something further down, don't you? Okay. One more. I don't know. Hopefully I don't regret this. I just will try not to go as dark, maybe. Let me flip that up and see. Oh yeah, that's fine. That'll work. Now I do need to move my magnet. Okay. Oh yeah, that's nice. Now you can see it's almost like mountains, except it's bushes. All right, so let's flip everything over and we'll do the same to this side. So basically I'm using the back of my good piece as a mask or a template or a stencil, whatever you want to call it, to create the shadowing effect, for lack of a better word. Okay, let's work our way out and back, out again, back. Let's do the other end and move our magnet. I'm off of my paper a little bit because it's longer. Okay, well, you know what? I'll just wipe it off of the little mat I have there. Let's try some more ink. Okay, let's move that down and how do I want to do this? And well, I want to flip it over, but I can't, so we'll just break it up like this. Whoops. Okay. Okay, we'll move it down here. And do the same thing on this side. Okay, so now we're going to slide this just down here a little bit to kind of want that there. So let's do it this way. I'm going to have to hold it, but that's okay. There we go. So there's our, whoops, there's our 2 rows of bushes or forest, background forest, whatever. Okay, so we've done all that. So now we do need to do our houses. And might just do a little bit on the pumpkins too. So the houses are going to go like that. I do want to do some brown on that because it's the same shade. This one's a different shade, but I want to kind of just go around the outer edges of the house. I do need, let's see, is this my, I don't know if this is going to be dark enough. It doesn't even seem to be having any wet on it, so I'll get a different one. Okay, so back to the gray. Now, I don't know how well this will show up. It didn't show up really dark on the sidewalk this way, but we'll try it. Just around the edges, just to kind of frame those out a little bit, maybe even a little darker on the roof. Yeah, we definitely need to do darker on the roof because it would have shingles on it, right? Or, you know, something that's usually a different color by something. Ours is a metal roof, which is what made me think of it, but as nice as they look, unless if you live in an area where you get heavy rainstorms, thunderstorms, I wouldn't advise it, because when it's really coming down, you can't hear anything. Okay, let's go around this edge a little bit. And that should probably do it. Where'd that, here it is. Now, I cut out the windows and the doors, but you could just as easily slice those out of your house and then just put, like for the windows, I would put like a piece of vellum behind there and then color it yellow so it looks like they're glowing, because it's, you know, it's Halloween. You want them to look a little haunted. That's just an idea. You can do whatever you like. All right, let's grab, I need some darker brown. Well, so we're going to do the same thing to the brown house, and you can make these whatever color you want. You could use fun, spooky Halloween colors like bright greens and purples and oranges, but I was just trying to keep it a little realistic. Not sure why. So I'm just focusing on that roof. I want to make it darker still. Okay, that's pretty good. It's not straight. You could always mask that off if you wanted. But because I'm going to go just around the edges, I didn't care so much. Okay, now do I need to do anything to this? Nope, actually I think it stands out nice. Wrong way. So the stairs I did think I'd do in gray, but or ink them a little, but I don't think I need to. I think we're ready to start assembling, and if I do need to ink anything else, I will. These little windows are so tiny, there's really not much to work with there. You can see it's pretty small, which is why I say it might be easier to just cut them out, and if I think about it, I'll go back into the file and I'll just leave them both in there so that you can either cut them out or you can have them cut out of the actual house. You know, you can always go into contour and change that if you want. Okay, I definitely need some tweezers. I'm going to start assembling the houses first, just because that allows me to think about the rest of it a little bit. Alright, so I finished gluing the inside and front of the card together. I did have some dies that worked for, let me zoom you in a little bit, that worked for my letters. I thought about distressing the edges just to make it look a little grungier, but this is a thin cardstock and they're such small pieces I decided just not to mess with it. But I think it would have looked really good maybe if I'd cut two of everything out and glued them together, made them a little stiffer and distressed the edges. I think that would have looked really nice. And I intentionally went a little wonky with them, and I intentionally turned the L's around and the H's are going in different directions because I wanted to give it more of a spooky feel. Now I did cut out an O, and then I went, oh, I should put a pumpkin in there for the O. And I used that as a die cut that I had in my stash. And so I've got some pumpkins down here that were also in my stash, and some bats that were in my stash. So I managed to finish this front. Now I did have to grab this ghost. There are a few free ones in Designspace, but that wasn't what I was looking for. I was specifically looking for this type of an image with the, you know, the rounded bottoms and, you know. So I had to go to Creative Fabrica to find those. And that is pretty much that. So we're going to decorate the back real quick. And so when it's closed, it's going to look like this. So I thought I would take this extra ghost. I'm going to ink him a little bit just to kind of grunge him up like I did the other one. And then I made this little piece here in case somebody wants to write an extra sentiment, you know, from Grandma and Grandpa, or Mama and Papa as I called them when I was a kid. But I just thought this was so cute. Creep it real. And then I put a little spider thing down here, but I mismeasured again, and this also probably came from Creative Fabrica. I've had it for a while. These couple of fonts, I intentionally separated them. I just did one, and it's supposed to be black, but it almost looks more like navy blue. I intentionally separated them and put the red behind and then offset them a little bit just to kind of give it an extra creepy feel. And I will go ahead, and I did it 3 different ways, and I will go ahead and share that PNG file with you in the description on the Facebook page where I share the link for the cut file for this card. So I'm going to put that right there. I think I will grunge the edges a little bit, and I'm going to grunge this guy, and he's going to kind of go over here. So something like that. So let's grab out my grungy paper. We'll grunge him up first. And there's the color I was using. And oh, I did want to say, to color in the eyes and mouth of the pumpkins, I just used this Crayola marker. It's just a regular marker. You could use whatever you want, or you could leave it plain, or you could cut them out in black and then fill them in if you want to do that. But just to kind of give you a better look at what I'm talking about, colored in his eyes and the pumpkins. Now I didn't color it in on the Halloween and the Happy Halloween just because I didn't want to have to color in all of the letters, so I left those, but on the other things I did color those in. Alright, so here's my ink. But once again, I've got to clean this desk. That is up next, guys, because I can't find anything. Oh, it's right here. It's a good thing it wasn't a snake. Okay, let's zoom back out a little bit. So I'm going to use the, it's called Pumice, I believe, and it's by Smoke Plume, actually. Harmony Spectrum Noir, by Spectrum Noir. And it's a really, really, really light gray. So I'm just going to start off the edge and just kind of just do the edges. I don't want him to be so stark white. And you can do as much or as little of this as you like. I will try to link the file below for the ghost. There's several different options. I wanted the more scarier ones, but there's some more cutesy ones, or like, I guess, Caspery type ones, because they're happy, or they look happy. They don't look scary. Now, they have scarier ghosts, but this is going to go to kids, and so I didn't want to make it too scary. I already felt like I was going out on a limb by putting the red blood behind there, so there's that. So now I need the black, and what was I using to do the black? I don't think I was using a brush, so I don't have the black one. But I will grab the black one, so I'm going to set him aside because I don't want to do him again. And I'm just going to use, yeah, that really looks more navy. I wonder if I need ink. Okay, so I'm just going to put some ink on here, and I'm just going to lightly go around those edges. Smoothen it out a bit. So since I had to cut off most of my spider web, I did have a stamp for the spider, so I used that. But again, digital images are your friend, especially if you're going to have to print something out. Now, I didn't do print then cut on this. I just set it up in my design software, and it's a PNG, and then I just cut it out, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys. So it won't have this spider on it. It will have that spider, which is hard to see because he's inside the web. Alright, I think that's probably good. It's a little grungier than I wanted, but we'll make it work. Alright, there was a cap. There it is. Alright, so let's put these pieces together and we will be done. So, initially I measured this side and realized before I print, actually I'd already hit print, I had to hit cancel, that I had done the wrong side. You could put it on this side, but I like it here with the ghost here. You do it however you want to do it. You might need to resize the PNG image if you grab that, but otherwise it should be ready to go for a standard 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I have got a new bottle of this glue, and I'm still using the old bottle. I just can't get rid of it. It literally lasts forever. Now, I did add a little bit of water when it kind of dried up, but otherwise, and it was just a little bit. I don't even know if you're supposed to do that, so I'm not recommending that to anybody. I just couldn't get it out of the nozzle. Yeah, I knew I didn't have that lined up right. Still not quite right, but it's stuck, so we're just gonna go with it. You know, if there was a hourglass on the back of this, I'd color that in with a red marker, but there's not. But just, you know, something fun to think about. Alright, so I'm gonna glue this guy over here somewhere. I don't want black. Where did that other one go? Got a kind of a weird streak on it. Alright, so Now I do have to make an envelope for this because I said earlier in the video I put my houses up too high because I put my sidewalk up too high. So keep that in mind when you're designing yours if you want it to fit in a standard envelope. I don't think this will even fit in a 5x7 because the measurements are just wonky since I let my roofs come up above. I think I measured it, but I don't remember. So it's 5.5 by, let's go to the 8, 4 by 5. So it's 5.5 by 5. So it may fit in a 5x7, I'm not sure, but there you go. Look how cute that is. So it's different than Betsy's, which is fine. You know, we all need to explore our own creative whatever, aura, spirit, I don't know. But it's the same idea, and this is her card base, and so I just kind of followed her idea. She definitely inspired this card heavily. But there's the front. It's so cute. It will stand up, of course. I was going to put some people or some trick-or-treaters on the sidewalk, but then I just decided to skip it because this has got enough going on, I felt like, but they would be cute on there. But since I had the pumpkins, I went that route. So there's your front. Woohoo. Actually, let's show that off a little bit better because we're proud of our work, right? Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. I'm sorry, making a mess here. Okay. So there is our card. Look at that. It is really cute. My ghost might be a little bit big, but hey, what are you going to do? So that's the front, and then here's the back. Creep it real. You could even decorate more back here if you wanted to. But I thought that was plenty. And again, we've got that blood dripping out of there. Now, the only other thing I wanted to do was, and I'm a little cautious because the other day my Wink Stella kind of just blurbed out everywhere. You know what? Let's just move that and I'll just put it on this mat. I do think my ghost should be sparkly. Okay, so let's just see if we can't get a little bit of ghost sparkles. Okay. Yeah. So I should have done this before I glued it down, but I didn't think of it. Oh, and now I'm spreading ink. Not good. I missed all of this. Sometimes you have to get it, look at it at a different angle and see, okay. I mean, I could do a better job, but can you see? I don't think it even shows up. No, it doesn't, but he sparkles. Should we do this guy back here too? Because why not? Dry, so I'm trying to push a little bit more out without getting a big blob. Oh, that's so cute. Okay. Good enough. Put that back on there. Actually, I think that came from over there. Alright, so I wish you could see the sparkle. It does not. You can see it on the black, you just can't see it on the white. Anyway, guys, I think it turned out pretty cute. I will link Jennifer's video below so that you can watch Betsy put her card together. Hers is the second card, I believe, so it starts kind of toward the middle. And they list all of the products they use, all of the different die steps, the die sets, stamp sets, all of that. If you prefer, or you don't have, you know, some of the stuff in your stash that I have. Yeah, I think it turned out so cute. Let's grab our background back out of there. I'm gonna do it like that. because it is so cute. So let me know what you think. I think it's darling. I could have done some different stuff. Honestly, I could probably make 50 of these different. But, yeah. There you go. Alright guys, well, until next time, hopefully I'll have a clean desk then and I can find what I'm looking for, but I make no promises. Because I don't like to disappoint people. Or myself. Okay, that was just silly. Anyway, until next time, guys, this is Georgiana signing off. You know, as usual, if you would like the video, I'd really appreciate it. If you subscribe, that's great too. Thank you to the newest subscribers, as well as those of you who've been with me for a while. And comments. Comments really help a lot too. Let me know what you like and what you don't like, what you do differently. I mean, I'm open to ideas. I think we learn from each other, which is great. The file also has a picket fence, which I didn't cut out. So, yeah, until next time, I hope you have a happy crafty day.